Your nightly news with Louise HOBART begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The Greens are set to once again move a motion of no confidence in Housing Minister Roger Yench in Parliament this week. Cassie O'Connor claims the Greens has new evidence showing guidelines for assessing at-risk children are years out of date.
State Parliament returning this week with the Housing Minister once again in the firing line.
We don't have confidence that he can do his job honestly because he did lie to the Parliament.
Until this question of confidence is cleared up, there is a huge question mark hanging over Roger Yench's head.
The Minister accused of lying about a government plan to change tenancy laws on evictions. But Michael Ferguson says he has the government's confidence.
It's another example of Cassie O'Connor and the Labor Party trying to do gotcha on Roger Yench. Obviously, they want it to be Roger Yench week.
The Greens, though, preparing to release new ammunition.
We have internal documents from Child Safety which show that the adolescent suicide risk assessment guidelines have not been updated for 20 years.
Also claiming guidelines for the placement of Aboriginal children in care are more than a decade overdue for review, both falling under Roger Yench's portfolios.
Claiming that something was 20 years out of date. Why didn't she fix it when she was a Cabinet Minister 7 years ago? What gives?
Meg Sydes, 7 Tasmania News.
And an experienced caver has been rescued in a mammoth overnight mission on Tasmania's west coast. Emergency crews were called to Mount Cripps near Cradle Mountain yesterday afternoon after the man slipped and fell several metres inside a cave. Around 60 people were involved in the remote rescue, including paramedics, SES and members of the Northern Caverniers Caving Club. Crews reached the man around 1 o'clock this morning and stretchered him out to safety.
Only took about 20 minutes to get from the entrance to the cave to the injured person, but it took almost 8 hours to bring him out, and so that was successfully achieved this morning.
The Ulverston man had been caving with a group of friends who walked for an hour and a half to get phone service and raise the alarm.
There was a crawl in and then a downward section and then another downward section with a waterfall in it, and so the patient was quite wet and cold from that.
The 62-year-old was flown to hospital suffering from mild hypothermia and a back injury. Wildlife biologists are working to return a small pod of pilot whales to sea after they became stranded near Strawn. It's believed the 4 whales, 1 large and 3 smaller, were swimming in Macquarie Harbour when the larger whale became stranded yesterday afternoon. Te Pipui says the whale appears to be healthy. It comes just 3 weeks after 460 whales were stranded in the same area. A man has been airlifted to hospital after falling from his mountain bike in the northeast. Police say the 37-year-old had to be winched by the Westpac Rescue helicopter after coming off his bike and hitting his head on a Derby trail yesterday. He was taken to the Launceston General Hospital with suspected spinal injuries. A new ad campaign encouraging people to stop their mates from drink driving has been launched today. The message is aimed at young men and is being backed by a local football club.
A look that could save a life. The newest addition to the state government's Real Mates Don't Let Mates Drink Drive campaign launched with the backing of the South Launceston Football Club.
Guys, take it very seriously, and we look after our mates, and that's what it's all about. It's a team game. Guys look after each other on the ground, but not just on the ground, but off the ground as well.
Police say young men aged between 17 and 25 are overrepresented when it comes to serious crashes involving alcohol.
Police that have to be there sometimes many hours on the road, dealing with stuff that we just unfortunately shouldn't have to deal with.
The new ad aims to demonstrate that sometimes a look can be all it takes.
But seriously, we just can't do this alone. It's all right for us to be patrolling out there, intercepting people. But the real issue is what happens before someone gets in a car and the decisions they make.
And while it might take some practice...
1, 3, ready? 1, 2, 3, the look.
The message is clear.
You see a mate about to do the wrong thing, you just got to tell them. Because the results could be not just death and serious injury for your mate, but for someone else.
Meg Sydes, 7 Tasmania News.
Today marks 25 years since Italian tourist Victoria CAFASSO was murdered on a remote Tasmanian beach. No one has been charged over the brutal killing, but police hope new technology and a fresh appeal for information may lead them to the killer.
25 years of heartache, confusion and unanswered questions. Who killed Victoria CAFASSO and why?
It's got no motivation. I mean, her money wasn't stolen. Luckily, she wasn't sexually assaulted. Nothing else. I mean, it's just that's what seems so incensed. You know, you just don't go on the beach, kill somebody and walk off. I'd hate another parent to be in my situation again tomorrow because somebody just didn't say something.
The 20-year-old had only been in the state for 6 days when she was brutally murdered on Beaumaris Beach on Tasmania's east coast. 2.5 decades on, police are still actively investigating the case, turning their attention to new DNA technology.
Particular area with UTAS that are assisting us, and then also with our own Forensic Science Service Tasmania. It's a long shot. We're not going to. We don't want to give any false hope. It's a long shot, but we've got to try. If we can get a profile, obviously that may lead us in a new direction.
50 people had spent time on the beach that morning, but no one says they saw anything. The clothes she was wearing that day have also never been found. A $100,000 reward still stands for those who come forward with new information. Whatever
reason they may not have, would ask them to come forward now, anyone with any new information. And of course, with 25 years, the perpetrator, there's a chance for them to come and clear their conscience. For anyone to live with something like that for 25 years, I don't care who you are, must affect you.
Detective Inspector Kim Stephen, who now has carriage of the case, had the gut-wrenching task of picking up Victoria's parents from the airport and taking them to the sand where their daughter had been killed just days earlier.
That was really difficult, trying to, have conversations for that period of time of travel and only imagining how they were feeling.
Tragically, Victoria's father Giuseppe died less than 2 months later from a heart attack, but many would say a broken heart. As each year passes, the search for answers on this cold case are made more difficult. But detectives aren't giving up hope that one day they'll be able to give Victoria's family the closure they deserve.
I think the answers are still out there. We just need to find them.
LETITIA Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania has work to do to save their Sheffield Shield clash with Queensland after a Marnus Labuschagne century put the Bulls in control of the match. Tigers recruit Peter Siddle took his first wicket in green. However, Queensland will go into day 3 with a first innings lead.
After making just 250 in their first dig, Tasmania needed Queensland wickets early on day 2. New recruit Peter Siddle stepping up to the challenge.
Peter Siddle has his first wicket in Tasmanian colours, and it's a big one.
Joe Burns gone for 7 as the Tigers started strongly. That wicket brought Marnus Labuschagne to the crease. He narrowly avoided a run-out early on. Boundaries like this were few and far between, as the Bulls' run rate dropped below 1 and over.
It's well hooked by Labuschagne, it's in the air and it's safe and it's going to go to the boundary for 4.
Queensland won for 72 at lunch. Street and Labuschagne's partnership passed 100, both also notching half-centuries. The Tigers brought to their knees in desperation. This LBW appeal turned down. But out of nowhere, a breakthrough. Street caught by Nathan Ellis playing the hook shot. Ellis also getting Street's replacement, Usman Khawaja.
Oh, this one might be close here. Khawaja trying to work it on the outside. He's out!
But Labuschagne kept pushing on, punishing Tasmania's bowlers and bringing up a well-deserved 150-ball century just after tea.
And it is another century to Marnus Labuschagne. A new season, but more of the same.
He cut this one for 6, while Matt Renshaw also joined in the boundary fun. Queensland slowly but surely taking control of the game, securing a first innings lead. Labuschagne's fine form rewarded, bringing up 150 late in the day.
Boundary there, and that will bring up 150. He just keeps making runs.
Tasmania with work to do tomorrow. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian runners have pounded the pavement around Ross for its annual running festival. In sunny conditions, Jed Matthews won the marathon in a time of 2 hours 37 minutes. Samuel Clifford continued his strong form, winning the men's 10 kilometre in just under 31 minutes. Millie Clark won the women's 10K in 32 minutes 55 seconds. Devonport are just a win away from securing their 4th NPL Tasmania title in 5 years after coming from behind to defeat Clarence 2-1. Strikers stalwart Miles Barnard doing the damage, scoring 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes to secure the 3 points.
Devonport could secure another championship this weekend if results went their way. But like last week, they fell behind early. An errant back pass eventually falling to Matthew Pace, who slotted home. Yeah! With 15 minutes to go, Miles Barnard came to the rescue, coming off the bench to level the match in the 75th minute. A minute later, he'd put them in front. Devonport taking a huge step towards another trophy. Glenorchy, however, spoiled the party. After a tense hour, Nicholas Naden gave the Knights the lead, a deflection helping him along the way. The win sealed late on. Eduardo Costenda finished off a nice cross, while Alex Walter added a third in injury time. At Kingborough, the Lions in South Hobart were looking to finish the season strong. Bradley Lacasseljak putting South in front after 16 minutes, tapping in from close range. 2 goals in 2 minutes from Nick Morton gave them a commanding lead with half an hour to play. Kingborough scored 2 late ones through Adam McKeown, but the damage was done. South going back to Darcy Street with 3 points. And in Launceston, it took 20 minutes for Olympia to lead against Launceston City. Mamek darting in to fire home at the back post. Callum Brown doubling the lead after 31 minutes, before Mawabu made it 3 in the 33rd minute. But the 4th provided the day's talking point, Austin Yoss scoring arguably the goal of the year. That effort capping off a dirty day for City. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Welcome back. 17 degrees today in Hobart. Launceston had the state's top with 18, 17 in Burnie and 15 degrees in Devonport. Around the state, 18 degrees also at Friendly Beaches, 17 for Scottsdale, Smithton, Wynyard and Ouse, 16 degrees at Cressy, St Helens and Campania, with 15 the top for the Bass Strait Islands. Low level clouds streaming over Tasmania on the charts there today. Further out, that stream reaching Victoria with thunderstorm activity over WA and southern Queensland, the remainder mostly cloud-free. Tomorrow the high persists over the Tasman with a cold front situated southwest of Tasmania and an inland trough over WA and northern regions. West to northwesterly winds tomorrow, 5 to 15 knots in the north, 10 to 20 in the south. Tending northeast to northwesterly, 15 to 25 in the north later and reaching 30 about the west, seas mostly at 2 metres. On to a few warnings. There's a strong wind warning for southern and western coastal waters, as well as the upper eastern coastal waters. There's also a moderate flood warning for the Macquarie River and a minor flood warning for the Jordan, South Esk, Cole and Meander rivers. Some showers in the south tomorrow, 20 degrees in Hobart, 18 for Dover, 21 at Ouse. Cloudy through the north, 17 in Launceston, 15 in Devonport, Scottsdale 16. Showers at times for the northwest, 15 in Burnie, 19 for Strawn, 17 at Stanley, with 18 degrees in St Helens, 19 for Swansea and 17 the top at Ross. Looking ahead, showers about the west, the south and the east on Tuesday morning expected to clear. Showers developing about the north on Wednesday, but otherwise pretty fine, with showers extending statewide by Thursday afternoon. Taking a look now at your major cities tomorrow, sunny and 27 degrees in Perth, 28 for Adelaide and Brisbane. Melbourne 25 and sunny with 24 the top, and a sunny day in Sydney with 31 in Cairns and Alice Springs. And it's cloudy at the moment in Hobart, 12 degrees, 15 in Launceston and 16 and sunny in Devonport. Have a great week, Lou.
Thanks, Sam, you too. And that's all your news for this Sunday evening. Thanks for joining us. Good night.